Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our event tonight entitled Broadcasting Muslims. My name is Bona Ahmed, and I actually attended one of the best media schools in all of Canada, Ryerson University. Shout out to Rye High if anybody's watching. And never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined that one day I would get the chance to use my talents for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our ummah. And today I'm proud to announce that I'm actually a host and senior producer for Muslim Network TV, a project launched by Sound Vision for Muslims in the US and Canada and really all around the world on satellite and streaming through Apple TV and Amazon Fire TV. Today, you will get a chance to hear from our team of highly accomplished professionals in media and leaders in our community from all across the world, who are going to explain the importance of why we need to be broadcasting Muslims and why giving our community a much needed voice in today's digital world is so important. Our first guest is actually an emergency physician practicing in Chicago and also a former host at Sound Vision's Radio Islam and now hosts a show here on Muslim Network TV. Please, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first guest, Dr. Dahir Ahmed.
Jazakallahu khairan Buna. Salam everyone. My name is Tahir Ahmed. I'm an emergency room physician in Chicago, and I also happen to be a host on Muslim Network TV of a show called The Real Diagnosis. It's a show where we try to look at the intersection between wellness, health, politics, and lifestyle. And I can't tell you how important I think the work at Muslim Network is. I'm a Palestinian, I'm born to Palestinian immigrants, and I think I know very well what it means to have a narrative formed without being a participant in that narrative. It's incredible being portrayed in the media as a terrorist, as, these people who don't have any values, don't have any morals. And it's always been frustrating for me. It's definitely part of the reason why around 12 years ago, I decided to try to change that myself, and I became a host on Radio Islam. And since then, that's allowed me to continue to try to voice what I think is important. I want to tell my story. I want to tell the story of people like me, of people like you. It's not been easy at all for Muslims in America. It's not been easy for Palestinians, for any sort of people. And I think that part of that reason is that we haven't really had a voice. Muslim Network gives us that voice. The Muslim Network TV allows us to be able to share our stories. It's not us defending ourselves against accusations. It's us taking ownership and us being there and creating the space and the environment that's necessary for people to come into our lives and to communicate with us. And so that is part of the reason why I feel so strongly about Muslim Network TV. That is part of the reason why I am happy to be a host on there. And I hope that you can find it within yourselves to help contribute and keep us afloat, because without your support, there will be no Muslim Network TV.
Now look, this is an interactive program, so please don't just watch and enjoy and sip your tea and eat your popcorn, but gain in the reward of building this massive project, this infrastructure of what will become a Muslim Network TV station for all Muslims in North America. You need to help make this happen today, inshallah, by giving whatever you can for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and donating towards this massive milestone project. Now, I know a lot of you might be wondering what actually sparked the need for a Muslim TV network, because this is something that Muslims in North America have been talking about for years. Trust me, I know I've been a part of a few failed efforts, but it wasn't until our next guest, the founder and visionary behind Sound Vision, took the necessary steps to make this project happen. Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid is the president of Sound Vision, and not many people know this, but before he started Sound Vision, he actually learned production at 3 of Chicago area's television channels and eventually became a director and produced his very first documentary. Without further ado, please welcome Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much, Brother Buna, for doing an amazing job here. Thank you. Jazakumullahu khairan. I want to share a story with you, a little story. I was sitting at Sound Vision I picked up a phone. It was, after 9/11. And this lady called, was on the call, and she said she got our brochure from a mosque. And she said, I'm not a Muslim. Is it all right if I talk? I said, absolutely, sure. And she asked me this question that, what channel should I switch to to watch Islam and Muslims? She was extremely polite, very nice, very calm. She was calling from Tennessee in a beautiful southern accent. This was time for me to pass. And I say, I'm sorry, ma'am, we don't have a TV channel for you to switch to. Now it was time for us to pass. And she says, then how do you expect America to know about Islam and Muslim? That went straight to my heart, brothers and sisters. And it rekindled the long-held desire at Sound Vision to start a channel for Muslims. That's the reason I quit a very good academic profession with $160,000 on table 32 years ago and went to a television station and learned to become a producer and a director there. That's how I produced my first programs in America. That thing was the one which asked us to wonder. Muslims have not a single radio program throughout the country. Muslim didn't have any, still we do not have a paper which reaches more than 3,000-4,000 people here and there. We're divided because there is no communication in the Muslim community. That's where we started Radio Islam. We ran it for 20 years. It did amazing job for Muslims, and other people who ran that will tell you that. And now after 20 years, we have rolled that program into Muslim Network TV. And guess where are we reaching? We're broadcasting to satellite, which has 57 million subscribers in rural America and Canada and Mexico. These are the people we need to talk to. And we are on Apple TV and Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and you can download our app. So Muslims in America finally, thank God, Alhamdulillah, and thank you for all the people who are part of it. Muslims in America now have a television, which is not just talking about preaching Islam, but talking about current affairs, talking about comedy, arts, children program, Islamic programming, in which top Islamic scholars in this country are there. It is there now. Thanks to you. Thanks to all the good people, Muslims finally have done it. Now we need to take it higher. That's why we have right now production going on in Hollywood and other places. And there are innovative programs, but our eyes are trained by likes of ABC News and Fox and Disney. We will not be satisfied with lower quality. You don't want lower quality, do you? If you want to achieve higher quality, it will take money. Not like hundreds and millions of dollars which other people have, but at least good enough money to do good enough programming which our children will be proud of, and which a lady from Tennessee can switch to learn about Islam and Muslims. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Join us, donate, support. This is the time to sacrifice. This is the time to empower ourselves. Thank you so much, Brother Buna. Back to you.
We've heard a lot about frontline workers and heroes during the pandemic, and rightly so. But over the last few months, there are also certain heroes who are rarely ever mentioned, and their stories are rarely ever highlighted in mainstream news. These stories are important to us in our community, and they need to be told. Dr. Ali Al-Barwani is a family physician with years of clinical experience and actually the host of one of our newest shows at Muslim Network TV entitled What's Up, Doc? Please welcome Dr. Alia Al-Barwani.
Thank you, Buna, for that introduction. Our story remains untold. Did you know that Muslim New Yorkers make up over 9% of the city's medical doctors and over 12% of the city's pharmacists? Muslim doctors see over 5 million patients every year. Muslim pharmacists fill up to 9.6 million prescriptions every year. Muslim doctors focus on serving the underprivileged and breaking stigma surrounding mental health care. Yet many Americans think only of the tragic events of 9/11 when they think about Muslims in New York City. Unfortunately, Muslims are only identified as Muslims in the media when fringe groups do something crazy or violent. Many unidentified and unrecognized Muslim doctors and healthcare workers have died and continue to die on the front lines of this pandemic. Many Muslim doctors and scientists are trying their best to save lives. One such Muslim scientist, Dr. Munsif Slawi, is a Chief Science Officer to Operation Warp Speed, an effort launched here in the United States to develop and deliver over 300 million COVID-19 vaccines. Two Muslim, Turkish-German doctors, Dr. Uğur Şahin and Dr. Özlem Teresi, the owners and founders of BioNTech, are also the inventors of the much-awaited Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, recently released. The story of Muslim contribution remains untold. Whose job is it to share that narrative? We must stand up. We must speak up. This is one of the reasons as a physician I'm hosting a show on Muslim Network TV called What's Up Doc. What's Up Doc is a health and wellness show designed to help guide you through the world of medicine and healthcare. Please support this show and the work that Muslim Network TV is doing to share our narrative. Thank you.
The work of Muslim Network TV relies heavily on the skills and experience of our wonderful team members from around the world, but most importantly, we rely on financial contributions from people just like you. Yes, you watching this program right now. There's a reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you this honor to be a part of this night, because we need you to step up to the plate, inshallah. Give whatever you can for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please click that donation button, go to that website, call that number, do whatever you can to ensure that we can make this dream a reality, inshallah. Now, it's so easy for many of us to complain about the media. I know I do it all the time. We think the media is biased, we think that they don't represent Muslims properly, but really, what's stopping us from using that same tool to help teach people the truth about Islam? Our next guest is a Professor Emerita of Islamic Studies at DePaul University, a senior Fulbright scholar, and she also serves on the board of Sound Vision Foundation. And she also hosts a wonderful show, one of the best shows we have here on Muslim Network TV, called Critical Talk. Please welcome our next guest, Professor Amina McLeod.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for that wonderful introduction. I am Professor Amina Al-Din, and I'm going to talk about media and its reporting on Islam and Muslims. 90% of it is negative. And we have found articles, if you care to look, from New York University, from the Bridge Initiative at Georgetown. It's even been in Gallup polls. This negativity has caused a serious impact, negative impact on us and our children. We're not responsible for the actions of Muslims overseas, but we are responsible for our reactions to the reportings of these events. Now, I bring those experiences and scholars, not Muslim and non-Muslim, and experts, Muslim and non-Muslim, on Muslim Network TV. Media builds relationships, and Muslim Network TV can do more PR regarding seating Muslims in American society as a voice to be reckoned with than anything else I can think of. The narrative about Muslims has developed, as I said before, over centuries and was mostly written by non-Muslims and is relied upon by our mainstream media. We can change that voice. We need to build our own narratives and stories, not only as Muslims, but as Americans. By bringing Muslim stories and voices to the fore, Muslim Network TV fills a gap in the media landscape, and it is a large gap. As a professor, as a woman, as a Black Muslim woman, I have seen hate, felt it, and touched it. But when you take charge of yourself, you build your self-confidence and you empower yourself. We can help people become more informed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amina. Media plays a critical role in amplifying the humanitarian crises that we see happening all around the world. Sadly, mainstream media is very selective with which human tragedy sometimes it wishes to spotlight. And our next guest is looking to help change that. Henna Zubairi is the editor-in-chief of MuslimMatters.org and leads the DC office of the human rights organization Justice for All. She also currently hosts one of the most popular talk shows on Muslim Network TV called Justice for All Now. Please welcome our next guest, Sister Henna Zubairi.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for that introduction, Brother Buna. I'm in Maryland, near Johns Hopkins University. Researchers at the university have told us that 2 million people have died since the war on terror started in Iraq and in Afghanistan. But does America know that? Do Americans know that 7 Muslim nations have been destroyed because of the war on terror? Muslims are a small minority in the United States, maybe 8 million, some say 2 million. A minority is in a weak position. We cannot do much without allies. But allies can only be formed when people know the truth. They know about us. And this is why we need Muslim Network TV. I started off on TV, on CNBC Asia and Associated Press TV. And look at me, 20 years later, I'm back where I started from. And the reason I came back to television is because I absolutely believe in the need for a strong Muslim narrative, a strong Muslim voice, where we won't be censored, where we can call guests who we want to speak on the truths that we have. And this is why we need Muslim Network TV. The very first production that I hosted on Muslim Network TV, I called in a congressman, a Republican congressman, and a commissioner from the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. And we spoke about what was happening with Indian minorities. Can you imagine this conversation being taken place on mainstream TV? I want to ask you today, we cannot keep having coffee table conversations, and we need to make dua. We absolutely need to make dua. But we also need to do and use the tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. We owe it to the people. We owe it to the Rohingya people who are going through a genocide. We owe it to the Uyghur brothers and sisters who are going through a genocide. We owe it to Cedric Prakash. He's a Jesuit priest who I had on my show, Justice for All Now. We spoke about what is happening with Father Stan Swami, a Jesuit priest who stands up for minorities and tribal people in India. We need this TV channel so I can have conversations with Raqib Hamid Naik, who's a Kashmiri journalist uncovering Kashmir. My show, Justice for All Now, is an hour-long discussion show that's hosted by Muslim Network TV. And I can't tell you, with 100 shows that I've done this year, how many deep conversations, how many allies we've built, bringing people onto television and showcasing what Muslims really stand for: equity, justice, peace. And this is why we need you to invest in a community television channel.
The roots of Sound Vision's media expertise go back to North America's pioneering production for Muslim children, which started almost 30 years ago to date. Yes, we are talking about the first ever Muslim puppet, Adam from Adam's World. Come on, you can't talk about Sound Vision and not mention Adam, right? Our next guest is a veteran educator, community organizer and advocate, and is the Sound Vision Director of Religious Education. She has utilized her passion for kids and her love of Islam to help develop brand new programs under the Adam's World banner. These programs are the Adam's World Club and also Colors of Islam classes. Please welcome Sister Zahira Lynn Eckert.
Thank you, Brother Boona, for that introduction. I'm very happy to join my colleagues today to talk to you about a very important topic, Muslim media, and more particularly, the Muslim Network TV. When people think about media, they often think of it as being important to adults. As an educator, I'm here to talk to you about the importance of Muslim media to children. The opportunity that exists in a television platform for children's programming is tremendous. The goal behind all of our children's programming is the same: to raise better Muslims, better neighbors, and better citizens. The television platform offers exponential growth in this area. We can create good content, we can increase representation, and we can give voice to the Muslim experience in North America and beyond. There are other television stations, and they do offer children's programming. But we have to ask the question, what do they really offer Muslim children? When we craft our own, we can make sure that it's fun, but it's also morally grounded. We can make sure that children see Islam as a way of life, that they see other Muslims engaged in their community, benefiting their community and beyond. And they can see Muslim kids like themselves. But we can't do this work alone. It is hard, and it takes a lot of resources. Please join this effort yourself.
Jazakumullah khairan to all of our guests so far, and thank you for all of you who are continuing to watch and share this good news. But please, brothers and sisters, if you just watch the program and you do not contribute, then all of this would have been for nothing. We need people who are inspired by today's program to take action, inshallah. Give whatever you can for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Help invest in the future of this ummah. And as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us, sadaqatul burhan. Sadaqah is a burning proof of your iman. When you truly believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Razzaq, then you won't be shy to give for His sake, because you know that He will return that wealth to you in many, many ways, inshallah. Now, part of my job here at Muslim Network TV has been to produce programs for young people and people who are young at heart. Here are a few of the programs that I have personally been looking after, and also a sneak peek at some of the shows we have coming up in the new year.
I was born in Mogadishu, Somalia, back in 1988, and I moved to Pakistan. We escaped the war, alhamdulillah. We were one of the fortunate ones. And we lived in Pakistan for about 6 years. We grew up there, went to school. My mom learned how to make Pakistani dishes, biryani, dal, naan and all of that. And we learned Urdu. And then in 1996, we came to Canada, and we had to learn a new language, which is English, and that was kind of exciting. It was something new.
That's your robot? Is it too late to join your group?
Salam, what's your name?
He can talk?
Salam, what's your name?
He can talk!
Salam, what's your name? What name? Salam, what's your name? Salam,
I'm still working on his programming.
Salam.
He can talk! And I should work more on Jack's programming. Ugh. Nothing to be excited about. It's just a falafel, dude.
Falafel, Middle Eastern cuisine. Dude, American slang for male. Falafel, dude. Falafel, dude. My name, falafel, dude. My name is falafel, dude. Falafel, dude.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I hope you like that sneak peek. I promise you there's much more where that came from, inshallah, because since the beginning of the pandemic, we've actually been on air providing much needed entertainment and guidance for Muslims all across the world, especially in North America. In order for us to continue doing this work and make more fun, engaging, and exciting shows, we need your financial contributions, inshallah. Now, Sound Vision has actually trained a generation of media professionals as interns and volunteers over the past 3 decades. Radio Islam in particular was a stepping stone for many young Muslims who have gone on to have stellar careers in mainstream journalism, film, and all types of different media. Our next guest is a reporter at NBC Austin and broke historic barriers by becoming the first full-time TV anchor to wear hijab on American news. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. After graduating from college, she secured her first job at Radio Islam, where she was a host and producer, and we are so proud of her and honored to have her here with us today. Please welcome Sister Tahira Rahman.
Jazakallah, and thank you, Buna. I'm coming to you from Austin, Texas, where I'm a news reporter at KXAN TV, which is the NBC station, the award-winning NBC station here and the top station in the market. Now, I studied journalism and international studies at Loyola University, Chicago, but my first job out of college was at Radio Islam, WCEV 1450. That is the nation's first and only daily Muslim radio program produced by Muslims for Muslims. During my time there, I led the organization to a 200% growth. And more importantly, I was able to meet some of the most influential American Muslim leaders, like activist Linda Sarsour and even Congressman Keith Ellison. We didn't just tackle the quote-unquote Muslim issues. We talked about everything from education, science, foreign affairs, and then of course, also faith. That's the thing about Radio Islam. I felt like we were able to represent the entire Muslim community in all its facets, not just from one narrow perspective. I did all this while developing important skills that I would later use in my TV career, like critical thinking, asking the right questions, and technical skills. Being on TV is more than just about representation. That's important, but it's also about inclusion in the news-making process. When I was a child, I remember feeling so helpless, watching the way Muslims, people who had the same faith as me, people who looked like me and my loved ones and my friends, the way that they were being represented on TV, on the media. And I remember thinking that I wish that I could somehow change that perception. Well, I'm not a child anymore, and I've realized that the only way to change that is by taking control of your own narrative, by being a part of the way that your story is being told, with the help of your community. That's why I wanted to become a TV news reporter, and that's why I think the idea of Muslim Network TV is so important. It's about not only just representation, but also inclusion. They say that journalism is the first draft of history. So why aren't we part of that first draft? One incredible woman who shares my passion for journalism as well as the Muslim community's involvement is Janan Hashim. She was my mentor at Radio Islam and my dear family friend even beyond that. It's now my pleasure and honor to introduce her as your next speaker, former Radio Islam host and producer, Janan Hashim.
Thank you, Tahira, so much for your kind words. You're bringing back a flood of memories of all the wonderful time we had in the studio doing our shows, outside of studio, traveling together, going to ISNA convention and doing some of those live shows remotely. Watching you pull together those logistics was absolutely amazing. All right, folks. Well, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight's event. Really appreciate the time that you're taking to be with us. Radio Islam started each show during its 20 years on the air with a really interesting motto. And it started out like this. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it's like this. Everyone's talking about Islam and Muslims. It's about time that you talk. Bubble. The music goes on from there and the show continues. And I think that's very emblematic of everything that Sound Vision is trying to do with its mass marketing of the Muslim voice. And it's very emblematic of what Sound Vision has done with Radio Islam, and now its natural next step of the Muslim Network TV. Everyone back in the day, 20 years ago, if not before then, right now, and well into the future, near and far future for that matter, I suspect, they're talking about Islam and Muslims. And where's our voice? Where is your voice? Well, now we have a platform continuing from the Radio Islam tradition into the Muslim Network TV platform of having that voice heard. The impact that Radio Islam had during its 20 years on the air is nothing to be taken lightly. We had, I would say, an impact in three major areas. Who listened, who spoke, and what happened with those who came through our doors as part of their careers. I remember this one time I was in the car and listening to the show. They were talking about Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo and the detainees and torture. And so this guy called in. I'm like, oh yay, we have a caller. And I'm listening, and he says, my name is Bob, and I'm not an Islami. And I'm like, ooh. And then he's like, and I just want to say I'm former military. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope the guys at the studio have their hand on the dump button in case something goes awry. And then he said, I just want to say that torture doesn't work. It doesn't get out any good intelligence from the person who's being tortured. It doesn't get us the information that's needed. It's just bad all around. I was like, wow. Here we have our guests on the show putting forth their opinions, but then that opinion is validated by somebody who's listening to Radio Islam and shares with us his own personal experience with our listeners. That's impactful. Congressman Danny Davis called in to the radio show, and he said to our listeners, like, every time I come into Chicago from Washington, D.C., he's, U.S. representative. He said, every time I come in from Washington, D.C., I listen to Radio Islam when I'm driving, into the city. Wow. But it makes sense. Muslims are a big part of his constituency. What are they talking about? What are they discussing? What better place than Radio Islam to hear what it is that group is talking about and discussing? And then the third area of impact, I would say, has to do with who came through our doors. Yes, we have Tahara, who has made a wonderful success of her career, but there are other people who came through Radio Islam who went on to do wonderful things, particularly in the area of journalism. Samira Sayed was one of our very first hosts. She went on to become a reporter with CNN International, starting with little Radio Islam, all the way up to CNN International. Wow. We have Carly Pearson. She was an intern with Radio Islam, did an internship with CNN, then came back to Radio Islam as a producer, and then she went on over to Miami, which I think is the fifth largest market in the United States, before becoming an attorney. It's not an anomaly that Radio Islam provided this platform for young journalists, young people who wanted to have a stepping stone towards something greater, and to get that experience that they needed through our studios. So it's only natural that the next step for Radio Islam is Muslim Network TV. It's our ability to now on television provide high quality programming produced by Muslims for the mainstream market, and to have our voice heard and not manipulated and not twisted, but to be able to control that narrative so that it truly reflects what that Muslim perspective is, what that Muslim opinion is, and what it is that Muslims are talking about. As the motto said, everyone's talking about Islam and Muslims. It's about time that you talk, and now we have a new platform upon which we can express ourselves and our opinion. That would be, of course, Muslim Network TV. Congratulations, Muslim Network TV. Congratulations, Sound Vision, for taking this big, bold step and to making the future of Muslims in media become even better and even brighter. Congratulations.
When we as Muslims have our own TV networks to frame our own narratives and to profile success stories of Muslims in our community, wonders can happen. And we can see that with the example of Muslims in the UK who have had their own TV networks for years. Our next guest is VP Technology at Delphi Consulting and an award-winning author, and actually got his start as a host on Radio Islam. Please welcome our next guest, Dr. Salahuddin Khan.
Thank you, Buna. 15 years ago, there used to be just one Muslim member of Parliament. Now there are around 40 in the combined Houses of Parliament. It's the House of Commons and the House of Lords. What made such a rapid growth in representation was very much down to TV. Over that time frame, UK Muslims began launching their first TV channels, and today we can count over 25. And meanwhile, more than 7,000 non-Muslim embrace Islam every year. And the number keeps rising, with little doubt that Muslim TV channels make a big contribution. According to British government statistics, just one Muslim channel reaches almost 60% of all UK Muslims. Because of this, what's happened in the UK has been a steady trend toward mainstreaming Islam, as Muslims have been taking increasingly professional roles in society. They've matured to go on into government roles from left to right across the political spectrum. I mentioned this idea of mainstreaming or normalizing Islam in the UK because it allowed Muslims to be viewed less like monolithic other and more like a diverse cross-section of the British population at large. Now, whenever this kind of mainstreaming happens, Islamophobia can be tackled and beaten. And the UK has the least levels of Islamophobia among major European countries by most observations, including France, for example, and Germany, both of which have very large Muslim populations. This is the power of the media, and yet it is simply missing in the USA and in Canada until now. Now, if we're to have anything close to the kind of success that I've described in the UK, we have to understand how expensive it is to produce media. 10 years ago, I wrote an award-winning novel called Sikandar. I was later contacted by a Hollywood screenwriter who wanted to write the screenplay for it. I agreed, and we collaborated to complete it. That experience taught me something of the complexity and cost of putting together a production. With the US average feature film running for production to tens of millions of dollars, maybe even 100 million, production of the screenplay, of mine at least, has never gotten off the ground. Now, if you think of what's going on, thanks to volunteerism of Muslims, we have Muslim TV network now. But it can only succeed if it's properly funded, and if not, then it won't reach the people that it needs. Once a channel can establish itself and have enough viewers to be able to drive an advertising revenue stream, all the evidence is there that it can be sustained. Now is the time for your support. Affecting public perception is every bit as important and every bit as worthy of your charity as any of the other deserving causes. So please, make your donation and pledge today. Support Muslim Network TV. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much to everyone who has donated thus far tonight. We are getting close to our target, but we're not there yet. In order to reach that milestone, we need everyone to chip in, inshallah. Everyone who is watching tonight, please make a contribution. Please look into your heart, and more importantly, look inside your pocket for what you can contribute and invest in your community. This is our ummah. This is our network. This is going to be something that doesn't just benefit us, but our children and our children's children and generations to come, inshallah. So please go to our website, donate using the phone number, whatever works for you, inshallah. We will help facilitate it because this project is extremely important and we all need to chip in to help make it a success, inshallah. Speaking of success, you know, the success stories of American and Canadian Muslims is hardly visible. Sometimes we don't know these people. We don't know who the achievers and contributors are that young Muslims are paying attention to, people that are influencers in the world. I want to invite Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid to come back on air and talk to us a little bit about how do we create and cultivate people who will go on to inspire our Muslim youth for generations to come.
You just heard Brother Salahuddin. He's an amazing person. I'm an achiever in the Muslim community, actually. You know that GPS which tells us left and turn left, right, take exit, go straight. That's him. He was the chief scientific officer of NAFTAC when that company put America on the map, and now around the world it has become a second nature. Nobody knows where the maps are now. Muslims have achievers, but the world doesn't know about them. You know, I will tell you, when pandemic happened and there were not enough ventilator, who came forward? A Muslim came forward and let his company do that. Now that person is the chairman of the Intel Corporation, that chip which is in all the PCs and all those. Muslims are achievers. But people know us only when some bad guy somewhere does something nasty, then we'll say, oh, he was a Muslim. Excuse me, why don't you tell about those hundreds and thousands of people who are serving their neighbors, doing an amazing job? You just, you know, I'm into Elon Musk because I want to go to Mars, so I keep up with him. He came up last few weeks ago, a chip which he put in a pig's head, and he was showing off with those pigs. And that chip can read their brain waves when they're hungry and they're given food and all that. He was all over the news, of course, Elon Musk. But 10 years ago, a Muslim named Naveed Sayyed, professor, he came up with a chip which can install in the computer and can communicate two ways. Why 10 years ago? He's highly rewarded, published in scientific journals and all that, but America, world, Canada doesn't know about Muslim achievers because we have no television. We don't tell our stories. And his chips is going to be very useful when people who, you know, for example, they have Parkinson's or other nerve diseases. If it is installed, they will be able to communicate both ways with the help of that. And there is another person in California. You know, lot of warfare in the world is on water nowadays. Big issue on water. And this person has invented a device which does not use any oil or electricity, just the good old solar energy, and can suck water from air. Even water is only 10%, which could be found in all arid zone. Just 10% water in the air, and it will produce water from the air for you. Muslim inventors and contributors, they're all around. Our people have not been able to tell their story. Mainstream media is not interested, and we don't have a paper or a newspaper or radio station or television. Until now, that is. Muslims have Muslim Network TV. I already interviewed Professor Naveed Sayyed, who is an inventor. Salahuddin himself used to be a host at the Radio Islam. Our children need to know people who have been serving and contributing, so they continue to contribute, inshallah, as they grow up to be a good Muslim and a good neighbor and an excellent citizen. Their stories need to be known. And for that reason, I ask you to come forward and support. You know, our children are very smart. They know TV on the other TV. They know which is good television, which is a bad television, where there are good effects, where there is lousy. They're not looking for preachers any longer. They need good programming. And that's what we produce. Good programming. But good programming takes good money. And your money is good with Sound Vision. With your help, we have done 20 years of Radio Islam. With your help, we have done 32 years of Sound Vision, and we are all ready. Muslims have a lot of talent. We need to put that talent on our terms, on our channels, and then other media will pick them up. And that's why we need your support. So please continue to donate and support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
A question that I often get asked is, where are the Muslim youth? You know, where are the voices? Who are the people that care about the issues that are important to our youth? Well, our next guest is actually a young, dynamic social activist who currently hosts a show called Next Gen on Muslim Network TV and is doing a fantastic job connecting with young people from all around the world. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our young sister, Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Brother Buna, for that wonderful introduction. And to our audience, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. My name is Ahmed. I am the host of the talk show Next Gen on Muslim Network TV, where we seek to amplify the voices of young people, particularly young people who aren't granted a platform by mainstream media. Growing up, it feels like to not have representation. And the little representation we did have was generally massive misrepresentation, whether it be portraying Muslim women as oppressed or Muslim men as radical extremists. That was the representation that I had to grow up with. So when I was introduced to Muslim Network TV, I was finally satisfied that we had something. We had a network, a channel that is seeking to center the voices, that is seeking to amplify the voices of Muslim women and men who are making changes in our world. And the reality is, right, young Muslims are the leaders of movements across the globe, across the world, right? Whether it be the Green Movement, movements for social justice, we see young Muslims at the head of these movements. So it's essential we highlight their struggles and their successes, that we give them a platform, and that is what Muslim Network TV is doing. And another thing is that Muslims in Canada and America have the youngest faith population as compared to fellow Protestants, Catholics, Sikhs, Hindus, and Buddhists. We have the sheer numbers, and that's why it's so important that we center these voices, that we are able to make a difference in our society, to show the rest of the world, right, how young Muslims are actually like, that we are engaged and involved and talented, and we have these big goals, and we are seeking on the ground and at bigger levels as well to accomplish them. So to Muslim Network TV, I am grateful, right, that they give young people like myself an opportunity to speak about the issues that we're passionate about, that they are seeking to, that they are committed to centering the voices of Muslims.
Some of you watching tonight may have never seen Muslim Network TV in action. If you haven't, I advise you to go to our website, muslimnetwork.tv. Check out our catalog of shows. Check out the wonderful program we've been able to create in just the last few months. Allahu Akbar. Could you imagine what things will look like 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, with support from people like you? How much khair, how much goodness we've been able to put into the world. Please, brothers and sisters, make a contribution. Help support this cause of Muslim Network TV, inshallah, because this is a long-lasting project that will be a sadaqah jariyah for years and years and generations to come. In the meantime, here are a few of the shows that you can currently watch on Muslim Network TV, so check this out. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you watched a Muslim comedian or a Muslim comedy that was clean and family friendly? Right? Probably hasn't happened anytime recently. But fortunate for us, our next guest is an African-American Muslim stand-up comedian, actor, and former musician who is also the founder of his own production company called Halalywood, a Muslim company that is currently producing a first-of-its-kind Muslim comedy show exclusively for Muslim Network TV. Please help me in welcoming our next guest, Brother Omar Reagan.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Buna Muhammad, my fellow filmmaker. I decided I wanted to create this talk show, something that Muslims hadn't produced. Like, I know we all watch it though. We watch The Daily Show. We watch so many different shows, but we don't create our own. So I really wanted to create something that everybody can watch, not just Muslims, but everyone, and we can control our own narrative and represent us for who we really truly are, and have fun at the same time. So having comedy, having some hard conversations, and just having some fun in the nighttime. And I'm just so happy and honored that Imam Malik Mujahid and the Sound Vision team, that they were like, yo, let's do this with this Muslim network, and let's do it with Omar Reagan. And it's been a blast in creating it. Of course, there's always challenges, but it wouldn't be what it is or what you guys are going to see if we didn't have challenges. My story is, I could tell a short version. I left Detroit when I was 24. I wanted to be the Muslim who represented Muslims on the mainstream media. Like I saw Larry Johnson and Muhammad Abdul Rauf in the NBAs, right? I was like, I want to do that for Muslims. I wanted to do it for acting. And so that was my mission in the beginning. But Lord knows, my mission changed. It became a lot bigger with saying we need to create our own. Now, I had success in Hollywood. I worked in Hollywood 14 years. I'd done 4 feature films and 2 commercials. And then I had challenges on what role I would accept because I had morals and integrity that I wanted to hold on to, the principles that I wanted to abide by, even in my passion in my career. I wanted to hold on to certain principles which conflicted with Hollywood. So that drove me into creating Halalywood. And alhamdulillah, I'm really excited. We've done our first feature film, and it's up on Amazon Prime, which is huge. It's huge. We are nearly at 100,000 streams right now. And that's just a testament of what I believed, what I knew that we could create. And I don't know why we as Muslims are behind in having our own feature films and our own stories. We're so behind, but it's only because we weren't creating. So I'm hoping that you all see the vision. I hope that you all support. Because just collectively, we can just make film after film, show after show. And with Muslim Network TV being this here in North America, let's build it. Let's make it strong. Let's build it. So shukran. Thank you, Muslim Network TV. Thank you, Sound Vision team, for having me. And let's keep building. Thank all of you.
A Muslim channel that builds American and Canadian Muslim narratives is long overdue, and Sound Vision is the right organization that has the right expertise and platform to help roughly 7 million Muslims in North America tell their own stories. Our next speaker serves as the vice president of Sound Vision, and for the past 20 odd years, mashallah, he looks young, but he's been doing it for 20 years. He's been empowering the Muslim community through inspirational leadership, public speaking, writings, and advocacy. He also does a lot of work behind the scenes with Sound Vision, mashallah, tabarakallah. I know because I work with the brother. And he also hosts a show on Muslim Network TV. Without further ado, please help me introduce Brother Taha Ghayur.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Bona, as well as Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid and our dear friends at Muslim Network TV and Sound Vision for producing such a fantastic show tonight. My friends, my brothers and sisters, media is an art of influencing, and communication is about connection. And this is what Sound Vision has been doing for the past 30 years. You know, when I was younger, in my high school and university days, I remember being mesmerized and captivated by Sound Vision's grand vision for utilizing the art of communication and the art of media for positive impact. And this is precisely the reason why I have been associated with Sound Vision for the past 20 years, alhamdulillah. So the question is, why did Sound Vision decide to launch a Muslim channel for North American Muslims? Why did Sound Vision decide to launch Muslim broadcasting platform? The reason being that it is a no-brainer, because we produce, and we produce. This is what we have been doing for the past 30 years. From Adam's World, which is a pioneering children's production for English-speaking Muslims, to pioneering an entire industry of Islamic nasheeds and Islamic songs, with the likes of legends like Dawood Warsby or Irfan Makki and many others that resulted in over 200 original beautiful songs that are etched in our hearts till this day. Many people don't know, for instance, that it took our team about 3 years to convince our friend Yusuf Islam or Cat Stevens to come back and start singing for the Muslim community again. And how can we forget Muslim Fest, an award-winning festival that attracts over 70,000 people every year and hundreds of artists in partnership with our friends at Dawanet that we produce. So friends, we have under our belt 9 awards, including 4 Emmys among our team members. We have over 120 years of cumulative combined experience in media, broadcasting, and production. So we got this. We have the artists, we have the producers, we have the writers, we have the expertise. Not only that, we have the legacy and the history. We have brand and goodwill, alhamdulillah. And most importantly, we have you with us. So as we open this new chapter in Muslim broadcasting, we want you to be together in our journey. And my friends, time is now. This is our moment. So let us own it, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.